Okay, here we go. A dramatic reading of Ayaya. Born into the lush Parisian household, Elodie Rakoto grew up in a comfortable home miles away from the verdant island of Madagascar, her parents' birthplace. Her backpack was always heavy, usually contained no schoolwork. She carried the essentials, a few history books, some printed maps, and a compact shovel. Instead of wasting away with regurgitated facts from her classes, she explored the city to discover the stories behind each statue, neighborhood, and street sign. She collected bits and pieces of Paris, making it her own. When she was 14, her parents took to Dyer Island for a business trip. To her grand disappointment, the island was a private site for exclusive members of the Illuminati. She was forced to attend pretentious and awkward social mixers daily. Mixer doesn't exist anymore. How do we tell her? After a few weeks on the island, she met the piranhas, like-minded teenagers who had no interest in being pawns for their parents' political chessboard. On dull, rainy nights, she would convince them to sneak out and explore the island unsupervised. How awful of her. One foggy evening, they stumbled upon an abandoned internment camp. Felix, one of the piranhas, didn't want to go in, but Elodie insisted. Inside, they found a strange underguard lab in ruins. The piranhas grew excited, browsing through the strange apparatuses for trophies and mementos. The fresh breath makers. But Elodie noticed something in the far left corner of the wall, odd scratches in the shape of a circle. She ran her fingernails against the cool concrete. Who would do that? The marks were deep and narrow. A warm whisper suddenly sent her mind adrift. Deep, rumbling thunder. Black, glistening waves. An ashen, sanded beach. Incomplete. She was compelled to touch the ice-cold, sandy butt cheeks and draw a circle with a line in the middle to make the butt crack. A sharp thunderclap and lightning whipped the sky. The ground shook as sleek obsidian claws tore through the concrete floor, ripping the earth open. The building began to collapse, and Elodie spotted her mother wielding a bizarre instrument while her father told her to run. Then, complete darkness. Elodie never saw her parents again. For years, this nightmare woke her in the middle of the night, cold, sweating, shaking like a leaf. As a child, she suffered from night terrors and often resisted going to bed. To soothe her mind, her grandma would light a tea candle and tell her stories until the wick extinguished in a hot pool of liquefied wax. The perfume of a warm vanilla-scented wax would lull Elodie to sleep as she envisioned stories of legendary heroes defeating fear and foes. Elodie had forgotten the stories, but she still remembered her longing for a verdant, meleagous sea, rainforest, and colossal mountains that her grandmother would describe. When Elodie felt cold and numb with grief, she would light a vanilla-scented candle and summon her childhood memories of this distant, idiotic place, releasing her spirits to rise above her crippling depression. 14 years later, Elodie still searched for the missing pieces of the puzzle. No rational explanation. I'm getting a little lightheaded. Yeah. No rational explanation could explain her parents' disappearance, so she had been looking elsewhere. She researched any and all the legends that mentioned a dark force that snatched people at night without a trace. From there, she translated old tales of time and built tapestry of narratives from around the world that corroborated the uncanny way her parents had vanished on Dyer's Island. She also gathered artifacts made by ancient civilizations who sought to destroy or resurrect the incomprehensible and indescribable thing that took her parents. There were various names for it, differing from one language to the next: the abyss, the infinite, your mother's hole. Elodie had to set out into the cold, misty evening. She turned a corner, leaving Paris 13 in a eccentric neighborhood with substantial library dating from the Middle Ages. She had pressing work to do for the Hezra Shah, the collector and occult specialist who archived rare artifacts. He'd recruited her after she salvaged a rare stolen Maori statue of spidery fangs like the claws she'd seen on Dyer's Island. For the next 5 years, Elodie had been procuring occult relics for the collector. In exchange, he provided large sums of money, equipment, and precise information about obscure manuscripts. Just as the collector requested, she had secured the annuals of a witch trial convicting her mother, birthing conjoined twins in the 17th century. According to legend, an occult incantation was engraved on a set of skulls, all of which the collector possessed except one, the witch's skull. There were no traces of where the skull was now, but Elodie had found a newspaper article dating back the same year, mentioning that most remains had been relocated to the catacombs to avoid a pandemic. Elodie was acting on a hunch. Breaking into the catacombs to retrieve a lost skull involved certain risks, but no more than the previous work she'd done for the collector. With a flashlight, she followed the ancient layout of the catacombs and spotted a collapsed wall. A few large stones blocked the way in. She grabbed her portable XRF analyzer and scanned the materials out of the wall. Susan Clark, Susan Clark, Susan Clark. She spoke. Working for the collector had its perks. The brick mortar had been poorly mixed, showing high traces of sand. The whole thing was brittle, and the ground was moist from a damp evening air. This was her way in. The journey beneath was long and treacherous. The air was heavy and moldy. She gasped when her keychain flashlight hit an endless wall of bleached white skulls. Something cracked behind her. She spun around and collided head first with a baseball bat. Holy shoot! Pain exploded in her skull and darkness filled her view. When she came to, a man was carrying her over his shoulder. Venturing deeper inside the catacombs, he was wearing a dark robe, the black veil. She managed to elude them until now. Ruthless and lethal, they went by many names. She'd figure out that they ultimately all worked for the same group. A ring of occult fanatics, rumored to perform human sacrifices for what they call the Old One. She had to get out of here fast. Elodie spotted a loose skull on the wall, grabbed it, and smashed it on her assaulter's head. Stunned, the man lost his balance. Elodie hit the ground running. As she turned a corner, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her side. She looked down and saw a large blade planted there. Shocked, she removed the knife. A warm blood spurted out. Her heartbeat rang in her ears as her vision blurred. She fell to her knees, summoning all her strength. She drew a circle on the ground with a shaking, blood-red finger and traced a line in the middle. An opaque heaviness fell over her shoulders. A familiar scent of vanilla, spiked fruits, and lychee nuts coated the air, Thin tropical rain drizzled down leafy vines. Warmth. Madagascar. A ghostly cry erupted from the thick foliage. Elodie looked up, and the vines turned into hissing snakes. The soft canopy soil suddenly turned ashen and collapsed under her feet. She sank into something dense and cold that swallowed her like quicksand. She screamed before being smothered by the abyss, the infinite, the mother's hole. She found what she had been searching for. Thanks for coming to my reading. I hope you liked that reading. It was anime, that's what it was. All right. I think it is time to take this filter off, if you know what I mean. This is all too much. Yeah, like, comment, and I forgot to tell people, like, comment, and subscribe. How are they going to know what to do? Nobody ever puts it in their videos. They're never going to know to like, comment, and subscribe if I don't tell them. Yeah, they're gonna think I didn't want them and I didn't care about them. I'm gonna pass out. Am I still alive? What happened? Got him.